Get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Diller T. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. You see the title, fam. I told you. I told you. I told you what was going to happen. Woo. Let's get into this here.
Can the witness please state her name for the record?
Hillary Rodham Clinton.
William Jefferson Clinton.
Is there any reason you were unable to provide truthful testimony in today's interview?
No.
I don't believe so.
Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton face off against a congressional committee in separate depositions on the Epstein saga. And we have some of the most fiery moments all caught on tape. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. By the way, if you're putting things out on social media, if you're into content creation, you might be wondering how we're able to share so many of these clips from all of these stories so quickly. Well, we use something called Opus Clip. This is an all-in-one AI editor that makes it so easy to cut, create, and upload videos across any platform. Through AI, Opus Clip generates B-roll, reframes footage, and even cleans up audio. It is so easy. You just visit opus.pro/sidebar, you sign up, you upload, and in minutes you will have perfectly edited clips ready to go for TikTok, Shorts, Reels. Opus Clip is your one-stop shop, and having a tool like Opus Clip means that our producers can get you viral courtroom updates instantly. This is the most powerful tool there is to share ideas and edit like a pro. So go to opus.pro/sidebar to get a free week and then 50% off. Okay, so we have breaking news right now. We're trying to get this to you as quickly as possible. We were waiting for this, okay? The videotape depositions of former President Bill Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, in connection with the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. This was conducted by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. They were conducted in Chappaqua, New York, where the Clintons live. Let me just tell you, this doesn't really happen that often. When Congress subpoenas you, you go to Congress, not the other way around, but this is a very unusual case, as you know. Such a rare kind of case. But also, seeing these depositions so quickly, having them released so quickly, also unusual. But again, this is a case, this is a story, this is an investigation about transparency. Remember why they are being questioned, okay? Aside from both of their names appearing multiple times in the Epstein files, right, the files that were released pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, as far as we can tell, by the way, there are no direct emails from either Bill or Hillary Clinton to Jeffrey Epstein or vice versa. But we already knew they were in his orbit. We already knew about this. Through other evidence like communications and travel records, we knew that the Clintons were connected to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. More specifically, that Clinton had traveled with Epstein for purposes of humanitarian work with the Clinton Foundation in the early 2000s after Bill Clinton left the office of presidency. And remember, this is before Jeffrey Epstein was charged in 2006 in Florida and ultimately pled guilty in 2008 to the state charges of solicitation of prostitution, including with a minor. Now, the reports indicate that Clinton had traveled on Epstein's private jet at least 24 times. This is per reporting by outlets like the BBC. And by the way, a lot of this travel was actually set up through Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted sex trafficker, and Clinton's top aide, Doug Band. And to be clear, there is no evidence, nothing in the files, nothing that's been released that suggests the Clintons were aware of any illegal activities or were a part of any illegal activities on the part of Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or had knowledge of Epstein's crimes. I just want to make that clear. And by the way, there was no evidence even that Bill or Hillary had visited Epstein's island. Now, having said that, a lot of this focus is on Bill Clinton rather than Hillary Clinton, right? I mean, remember, aside from the humanitarian work, you remember when photos were released? Him in a hot tub, him getting a massage or back rub. So with that being said, the committee released the videotape depositions of both Bill and Hillary Clinton from last week. It's hours and hours worth of footage. We dissected to some of the more memorable parts of both of their testimonies on separate days, okay? Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I believe, okay, there is one thing to read about testimony. There's one thing to read the transcript of testimony. There is an entirely different experience actually seeing the testimony, the way somebody answers a question, the way they even respond, facial tics, body language. I think it's very, very important. Juries consider it all the time. Now, I'm not saying there's a jury here, but we're kind of like the jury, right? We're analyzing every aspect of this investigation. So to see the Clintons respond to these questions, I think adds element of value here, okay? Now, again, the House committee released both videos. Let's start with Hillary Clinton. This is her opening statement for the committee, and this is where she talks about a lack of transparency.
Let me be as clear as I can. I do not. As I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane or visited his island, homes, or offices. I have nothing to add to that. A committee run by elected officials with a commitment to transparency would ensure the full release of all the files. It would ensure that the lawful redactions of those files protected the victims and survivors, not powerful men and political allies.
Real quick, let's get right. You know what's going on right now. If you don't know, I'm about to tell you right now. You in the building with your boy Diller T, my fam. And this is No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and share this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat, something to drink, something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title. Now, check this out, fam. So you know the disposition that they had, the deposition they had. Hillary had one and Bill, okay? Deposition is when they privately put you in a room instead of court in front of everybody and do court in a private room. That's what it means. They do court in a private room with you and whoever else. So what's going on with Hillary, she was the first one. After that, they got Bill. Now, we already cooked Hillary for knowing that she went in there, but y'all didn't know what she said in the actual meeting. See, earlier we cooked her for being in this position, but now we cooking her, and really we cooking Bill tonight for real. But shout out to Law and them showing us the situation and how they coming in the way that they went about things, and knowing that the fact that they did it in this manner. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You about to learn something today. Never forget, you see the super chat. You see the cash app. You see the stickers. It's all love, whichever way it go. But at the end of the day, all it takes is one. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Why? Because we cook it.
It would get to the bottom of reports that DOJ withheld FBI interviews in which a survivor accuses President Trump of crimes. It would subpoena anyone who asked on which night there would be the wildest party on Epstein's island. It would demand testimony from prosecutors from Florida, New York, and the Department of Justice about why they gave Epstein a sweetheart deal and chose not to pursue others who may have been implicated in his crimes. But that's not happening. Instead, you have compelled me to testify, fully aware that I have no knowledge that would assist your investigation, in order to distract from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. If this committee is serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would not rely on press gaggles to get answers from our current president on his involvement. It would ask him directly under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. If the majority was serious, it would not waste time on fishing expeditions. There is too much to be done. This institutional failure is designed to protect one political party and one public official, rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter. My heart breaks for the survivors, and I am furious on their behalf.
Now, I mean, it seems that the argument is she's referring to those in the Trump administration, right? People who appear in the Epstein files that are not being properly investigated in her view, like Howard Lutnik, former neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein, United States Commerce Secretary. And by the way, he's a bit controversial because there were communications that would suggest he really didn't cut off contact when he said he cut off contact with Jeffrey Epstein, but also really focusing on President Donald Trump, right, who appears multiple times in the files, has faced uncorroborated allegations of abuse within the files, which, by the way, we've talked about in prior sidebars. But I gotta call out this moment. Okay, so this is where Hillary Clinton finds out that someone took a photo of her during this deposition. Remember, it was reported that it was Representative Lauren Boebert, okay, Republican, who shared a picture of her with a conservative commentator was posted all online. It's a big no-no because the rules require no unauthorized video or photos of a closed-door deposition. Watch Hillary Clinton erupt.
You're showing me an email from someone who I don't recall knowing about a fundraiser that wasn't for me but was for Congresswoman Lowy. I have no information. Okay. I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nia Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for
So
heaven's
I would
sake.
like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was,
It doesn't matter. We all were abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
I would
well,
like to take a break at this moment.
yeah,
I would like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Eventually, the testimony resumed. But now, I want to move on to something else, okay? I think we all knew this was probably going to come up. Monica Lewinsky, the president's former affair, right? I mean, there's a lot that came up over this when you knew the Clintons were going to testify. And after they testified, the argument came up that people say, this is another example of Hillary Clinton addressing her husband's actions, this time with respect to Epstein. But there is an apparent connection that Republican Representative Nancy Mace is trying to make here between the two. And by the way, Nancy Mace has been quite vocal about the handling of the Epstein files and the need for further action. But take a look at this.
On December 19th, 1998, President Clinton was impeached on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice, which directly related to his extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, correct?
I didn't understand what you said.
Your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, his sexual behavior.
He was impeached for several reasons, and then was acquitted in the Senate.
And your husband flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times, correct?
He made several trips with different legs on the trip, as I recall.
But he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane
Yes, he
17 to
did.
26 times? Were you aware that Secret Service was dropped on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
Where they were not on some of those flights?
That is not my
So
understanding.
your understanding is that Secret Service was on all of the flights that President Clinton was on?
That is
with
my
Epstein?
understanding.
By this standard of behavior, multiple credible accusers, including Juanita Broderick, who alleged rape against your husband was disbarred in Arkansas, lost his law license before the Supreme Court, flew on Epstein's plane dozens of times, visited Epstein's island.
That is not true. That is absolutely untrue.
Well, there's documentation in the DOJ files. I'm not sure you're aware, your attorneys have told you, but Jeffrey Epstein told one of the victims to lie to investigators, to lie that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein Island. I can provide that document to you.
We would like that document, please.
Okay.
Yeah, counsel, because actually the files say just the opposite. Epstein himself didn't use it.
These are FBI notes from an interview with a victim, and I can get you the victim number and the case number and the files. These are notes from a 302
If
interview.
you'd like those, are you going to provide those now?
I don't, that's not my line of questioning. She brought it up, but I have a
I'm
document.
sorry,
I can give to
you're
you.
making a representation
Yeah.
as to the fact.
I didn't
that
enter
something
anything
has
as
to-
an exhibit.
But it's factually inaccurate.
No, I can give it to you later. I can go find the document, make copies of it, and give it to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. By your standard of pattern of behavior, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, your husband appears in photos in swimming pools, hot tubs, aboard Jeffrey Epstein's private plane with unidentified young women. We came here today and told this committee that a pattern of behavior demands accountability, correct?
I said that I believe the committee should call anyone who had a substantial pattern and practice of contact with Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes before they came to light.
Does that include your husband?
And after they came to light. You're going to have a chance to question him tomorrow.
So I'll ask you again, by the standard you just set, in your own words just now, does this standard apply equally to your husband or only President Trump?
I have said that my husband has been subpoenaed. He will appear. He will answer your questions to the best of his ability. But there is no evidence whatsoever of any connection with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And I think that will be obviously apparent in the questioning.
What makes you so sure of that then? I mean, he's photographed with...
Objection, to speculate on something that's not.
Yeah, it is so speculative. I mean, swimming in a pool, sitting in a hot tub, there are millions of people who do that without any improper behavior or certainly committing any crimes. So I think
most of the men are like your husband that did anything wrong? Why were they being surrounded by young women giving them massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane? Are they all innocent then?
You know, you are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable.
Okay. Why did you wait 6 months to have this hearing today or have this testimony?
You know, I've answered that. I thought that given the way that other witnesses who were subpoenaed at the same time were being treated, that there was an unfair treatment of both my husband and myself. And I thought that, especially from my perspective, I had very little, if any, information to provide you, and that I could have done it in a sworn statement and you could have moved on to depose somebody else who might have more information that would be beneficial to your
I have two more questions.
We'll get back to the hot tub a little bit later, but now I want to talk about Howard Lutnik once again. Again, the current United States Secretary of Commerce, who appears numerous times in the Epstein files. Again, was neighbors with Epstein, communicated with Epstein through emails. There is even a photo that may appear to be him with Epstein. Now, Hillary Clinton is asked about him, and watch what happens.
Did it concern you at all that Ghislaine Maxwell was heavily involved with people you knew and were close to?
I knew people that I knew her. Yes, that's true.
And you just shrugged, you didn't want to look into it or
nobody,
question about it?
until her crimes were revealed and she was indicted and tried and convicted, I don't think people knew very much about at all.
And then how do you know Howard Lutnik?
I know Howard Lutnik because when I was senator on 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnik missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping his child off to kindergarten. You asked the question, I'm going to answer your question. This was what I spent my time doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors trying to
and I was taking care of the people who lost 3,000 lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I
about
have met
Howard
with
Lutnik.
Epstein survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did not.
Howard Lutnik was
If you have an email with me asking Jeffrey Epstein for money.
I have an email from Howard Lutnik sending it to Jeffrey Epstein and his people to raise money for
I don't know about
an event, an intimate event for you at his offices at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're going to sit here today and obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey Epstein. When there was an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnik emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to public. You want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for survivors. I'm doing the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
No, I'm going to finish answering the question, which I have a right to do. I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing the people who were murdered on 9/11. Nobody lost more people than Howard Lutnik. You can say whatever you want. You can call him and have him appear before the committee. But I knew him as the man who lost the employees that he knew intimately, including his brother.
And he was
So I worked.
you and
Let her
Jeffrey
finish her
Epstein
answer,
money
please.
for you.
Let her finish her
You
answer.
know what? If you don't want to hear what emotionally affected me, that's fine. But that's why I know Howard Lutnik. I went to the memorial service every 9/11 after the formal service was held.
I see what you're doing
with
here.
all,
You're
with
obfuscating
all
from
of
the
his
questions. He was
people, the
go-between between
families.
you and Jeffrey Epstein raising money for
Well, you know, Howard Lutnik and I did work
Thank you. I will
together
now yield
because
to
we had a
Congressman
lot of
Weiner.
victims
Thank
to take care of, and we worked together to rebuild downtown Manhattan. That is how I know Howard Lutnik.
Why don't you let me get over here?
Fine, I'll do the heavy lifting. And I go.
Okay, now I want to go back to Lauren Boebert, who had this very interesting back and forth on this one. Now, you remember the 2016 conspiracy theory about Pizzagate? Mentioned this in a prior sidebar about references to pizza in the Epstein files, people making connections between the two. Pizzagate was the unfounded theory that you had this sex trafficking pedophile ring featuring prominent Democratic figures was being run out of a DC pizza shop. Boebert asks Hillary Clinton about this.
In past public statements, as in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from a Washington pizzeria basement. Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry, does
You're
this
asking
relate?
her about whether she's reviewed emails in
In
the
the
Epstein
Epstein files.
files which relate to the wacky Pizzagate
You
scam.
could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So
Please
excuse
comment
me,
to-
your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be.
There are connections to the language.
Well,
I'm
the
not talking
QAnon
about-
people believe there are, so.
I don't know what QAnon
have at
people
it.
believe.
Have at it.
But you've accused certain parties, and I think even right now today, of promoting slow walking information in ways that fuels conspiracies. In your view, did any Epstein Maxwell related investigations or file handling pre or post 2019 contribute to or intersect with the spread of Pizzagate style theories about Democrat figures?
Objection.
I have no way of answering. That is the most
speculation.
ridiculously.
Have you or your representatives identified any Epstein file content that has been misinterpreted online to revive those claims? And what steps, if any, have you taken to clarify?
Again, object to the ground of.
I think that this is all very
Speculation.
reasonable.
Well, first of all, I don't follow the crazy conspiracy stories that are online. I regret that anybody does. I find it quite sad, but also disturbing that people would believe some of what is put forth, like Pizzagate. So I have taken no steps to review anything
Do you think
that might
pizza-
have any connection to something which I think is totally bogus.
Next question, want to provide a little context here. So remember Anthony Weiner served in the U.S. House of Representatives, had to resign over claims he sent women sexually suggestive photos. Then there was the whole scandal of him texting a teenager he was convicted of having sent obscene material to a child. He was released after 18 months in prison. Now, he was connected to Hillary Clinton because his then wife, Uma Abedin, had been an aide to Clinton. And during the investigation into Weiner, the FBI found emails belonging to Abedin on Weiner's laptop. And then that led FBI Director James Comey to announce that the FBI was reopening its investigation, its probe into Clinton's handling of official emails. And this was before the 2016 election. Guess what? She was asked about this in the deposition. Not happy.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled
Excuse me, hold on,
This is way outside the
Chairman's
scope.
ruling.
This is way
within the
outside.
scope? Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope, I
Mr.
have
Chairman,
other
based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record.
One more part I want to address real quickly regarding Hillary Clinton. Things got tense when she brought up Republican lawmakers.
You know, I also find it very interesting because I went back and looked at the transcripts of all of your other depositions, and none of the Republicans asked a single question to any witness about Jeffrey Epstein, or any question that would help provide answers for his victims to any of the people you deposed. In fact, the only questions that were asked by the chairman to Attorney General Barr. And what were they about? They weren't about Jeffrey Epstein. They weren't about Ghislaine Maxwell. They weren't about victims and survivors. They were, General Barr, I may jump in for a couple of questions. Were you aware of the involvement of Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign in the Russian collusion investigation involving President Trump?
A deposition of Ms. Clinton.
Well, I'm just saying, you have kept me here for hours asking the same questions over and over again. I've given the same answers over and over again. Not a single Republican at any of your depositions has asked a question about Epstein or Maxwell. And it does seem to me that if the members were truly interested in getting to the truth, you would have asked Barr, Acosta, Wexner, you didn't even show up at.
Secretary, I believe we are very close to finishing.
Okay, now I want to talk about former President Bill Clinton's videotape deposition. Pretty historic to have a president testify under oath like this. Haven't seen it in decades, and particularly regarding this case.
On August 5th, 2025, Chairman Comer issued a subpoena for President Clinton to appear today for a deposition in furtherance of the committee's investigation into the actions and investigations of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell. Can the witness please state his name for the record?
William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you.
And here is Bill Clinton's opening statement.
I'm here today basically for two reasons. First of all, I love my country and the Constitution, and I believe America was built on the idea that no one is above the law, especially presidents, and that we should all live by the same set of rules shaped by the Constitution. Democracy requires every person to play their part, and I hope that by being here today, we can bring ourselves a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and search for the truth and justice, and that outweighs the partisan urge for spectacle and point scoring. I will do my part, and I hope you'll do yours. The second reason I'm here is that the girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing. They've been waiting too long for both. Through my brief acquaintance with Jeffrey Epstein, though it ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication of what was going on, I'm here to offer what little I know so I can do my part to prevent something like this from happening again.
And I will tell you, he had some thoughts about his wife's deposition too.
I have to just say one personal thing. Since Hillary came in yesterday, she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing. There's a picture of us both shaking hands with him in a photo line in 1993 at a fundraiser for the White House Historical Association. I don't know how it is under President Trump, but when I was there, it was about the most non-political operation you can imagine. There were people who loved the White House, who were interested in it, would give a little money every year to do things that needed doing around the house. And nothing nearly as extravagant as the ballroom or any of that, just things that had to be done. And neither she nor I remembered shaking his hand all those years ago. So I don't think that was right. On the other hand, I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him, and you have a right to ask those questions. So I'm glad to be here, and I understand what the oath is. I have to be honest with you. You know, I'll be 80 years old if I live to my next birthday. I don't remember everything that happened 24 years ago, but I do remember some things, and I will tell you what I remember as best I can. We, each of us, owe the victims nothing less than the truth and accuracy. We owe that to the American people.
Again, there is an argument that Hillary Clinton really wouldn't have much to provide or answer for with respect to Epstein or Maxwell, even though, by the way, Maxwell was a +1 at their daughter Chelsea's wedding, but it was really the focus was on Bill, right? It seemed that he had a lot to answer for. So this is where Bill Clinton talks about his first encounter with Jeffrey Epstein.
And you mentioned that your first memory of interacting with Mr. Epstein was on your first trip. Which trip specifically?
I'm not sure which one it was. Which one was the first? I took all the parts of 4 or 5 trips to Asia and Africa and one to Northern Europe on Mr. Epstein's airplane. And once when I was in Florida, I was offered a ride back to New York, but I wasn't there having it. It was just coincidental that he was there. And I think that was fairly early in the process, but I don't remember exactly. I just know that I did. I took one flight back from Florida to New York, and all a part of several other, I think 4 or 5 trips to Africa, Asia, and one to Northern Europe.
Then he gets more into the nature of his relationship with the deceased financier.
Can you briefly describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Well, sometime after I left the White House, either in late 2001 or early-ish in 2002, I received a call from Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury, and was then president of Harvard. And he said that he was calling because a man named Jeffrey Epstein, who had made a substantial commitment of several $1 million, I think it was 10, but whatever it was, to brain research. And that he was a information hungry person, and he wanted to spend some time talking to me about economics and politics. And he said, he's got this massive airplane, and he said he would take you, your staff, your Secret Service detail, and anybody else you wanted to bring on the trips that he knew I was planning to set up a global network to provide life-saving AIDS medicine to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
Mr. President, when did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
When did it end? Well, I believe I took my last flight in 2003. Now, later I became aware of some involvement he had in the first Clinton Global Initiative, but it was much later.
Why did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
Well, after a year or two, we really picked up a head of steam with this AIDS program, and a lot of other people whom I knew better and who really cared about the work came forward and offered to help us provide transportation. And I thought Mr. Epstein was an interesting man, but I didn't think he was really interested in what I was doing. That is, he asked all these questions. He did ask about economics and politics, as he said he would. And he never asked me anything untoward. It's just that I thought I had done what I promised to do, and he had done what he promised to do. And I've always, over the years, with these donors, tried not to overstay my welcome. I thought that we'd done enough, and it was time to start working with other people.
When did you first learn of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes?
I think in 2008, when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him that made me realize he was trafficking women, and I never.
Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell.
And I never there's nothing that 2008 when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him that made me realize he was trafficking women, and I never.
Hit that like button. Double tap that screen right now. Double tap that screen right now. Listen to me. He just told on himself. And then when he did, he had to shut up. Because he just said, oh, there was nothing that at the time that further let me know that he was trafficking women. And that's what he just did. The man just told on himself. See, that's what I be telling you. Listen to me. Learn something. You hear me, Sherry Ann? See, Sherry Ann called it. You called it, didn't you, Sherry? I know you called it beautiful. Listen to me. Elliot. That's what happened to him. And then we looking at him like, bruh. Really? If I was at the table doing a deposition with them, I would have looked at him and been like, he said, there was nothing at the time that let me further know that he was trafficking women. I would be like, I would have pointed to him and said, let me tell you something. If you ever hear somebody tell on themselves or you hear something stupid or off the chain, just do this. They gonna feel so bad and they gonna be so toe up and they gonna know they just... They gonna be so emotional. They gonna probably give you some money to be quiet. Just hear something stupid and see something and just, fam. That's what I would have did at the table. Then I would have came across the table and I would have smacked Bill's skin off his face. Boy, is you sitting there playing with me? You finna play that game? We seen you with dresses on, everything. We seen you in the tub with a redacted face, an undacted face, a dacted face. We see you over here walking around. We see Trump grabbing on your crotch. Boy, what you talking about what you don't know about? I would have smacked, Bill would have had to got, you hear me? I would have smacked the Parkinsons. I would have made him I would have made him Parkinson. That little shake he wanna. I'd have made him park it right there with that Parkinson. I'd have made him and his sons Parkinsons shake it right out of there. Cause what? The man is lying right in our face. And the lawyer's job is to protect his lie. But the people across the table are there also liars. See, this is a problem. Because nobody at the table is of justice. Nobody at the table is of law-abiding citizens. Nobody at the table is flat out right. Nobody. Understand me. Nobody is right. Everybody at the table are liars, snakes, deceivers. Keep going down the list. It might be vampires, wolves, shapeshifters, mediums, fairies, witches. That all might be at the table as well. But the main thing is knowing who is at the table is this. The people that work for these people, hear me today, listen to me. The people that work for these people have a conscience. They have kids. So even in their own right, they're forced to do things that they don't probably want to do. So when they leave work, they probably drinking, smoking, having sex. They probably doing adultery. They things that's beyond. Okay? Listen to me. At some point, it allows you to know that you are still a human because you have to take things to become numb to the BS. The people that are in that room are somewhat of some type of crooked something. So it makes us hard to even look at this disposition and say, okay, well, somebody's getting to the bottom of something. No. The people that's on the side of Trump's side is taking the attention from him and putting it on them. They literally asked her about Pizzagate, and they didn't even ask her really about Epstein. They asked her about her husband dealing with Epstein, as if she would have, just like they do when they put you in there and they put somebody that you with in another room and then another person in another room and they ask them the same questions, but they trying to get you to snitch so they can go tell the other guys that you told already, so they might as well come clean. That's all that was. But see, that's the thing. This private deposition exposed them trying to get her to snitch on her husband. And she's like, no, y'all gonna talk to him tomorrow. Why y'all asking me this? That's what they do. So you see, that's what they do, because they did it to her right in front of her face. They try to get her to snitch on her husband. So when her husband gets there, they can say, hey, well, you know, Hillary said. Uncommon Woman said, if it wasn't for lawyers, we wouldn't need lawyers. I like that. Shout out to you, Uncommon Woman, STL. Shout out to you. But the biggest thing I want you to understand is that everybody at the table is wrong. Nobody's right. And at the end of the day, this is another distraction for us to say, hey, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Cooking.
Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. When did you first meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I believe I first met her with him when she was working with him.
And what did you understand Ms. Maxwell And what did you understand her relationship to be with Mr. Epstein?
I thought she was sort of his chief of staff or administrator.
And you said that you first met Ms. Maxwell with Mr. Epstein. Is that after you were president?
Yeah, I don't believe I met her when I was president. I could have. I met a lot of people, you know, I don't remember, but I definitely remember meeting her on that first flight.
Can you briefly,
Sherry Ann.
for the record, describe the nature and extent of
Sherry
your
Ann, you
relationship
better tell
with
that
Ms.
junk back
Maxwell?
up. Hey, cat.
Yes,
You all right?
it lasted longer and was more extensive than my relationship with Mr. Epstein, because Ghislaine Maxwell started going with a man named Ted Waite, who had made a lot of money making the first sort of self-designed computers. And he was a big supporter of mine and the foundation before he started seeing Glenn. We'd been friends, and he was interested in.
Yeah, let him know. Hey, Sherry Ann, get on him. Who we talk? Hey, Chris.
Reducing pollution.
Chris already getting on.
And so when she started going with him, I would see her from time to time.
And when did your relationship with Ms. Maxwell end?
I don't think I've seen her in a decade. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know exactly when.
Why did your relationship with Ms. Maxwell end?
Well, first she moved to Boston, I think. She had a relationship with a man there, and I think they may have married. And so she wasn't so much around, and then when it became, after 2019, when it became obviously she was involved too, to an extent that I did not know. That was the end of it.
Now, while I mentioned the interaction with Epstein was before the criminal charges, right, in 2006, and then the guilty plea in 2008, Clinton is asked if authorities had reached out to him and whether Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell were part of intelligence agencies, right? This goes to the idea of the pair honey trapping very powerful and influential and wealthy men for blackmail purposes, right? Possibly for foreign governments.
Mr. President, for the record, have you ever been contacted by any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
As far as I know, no. That is, as far as I remember. Back in 2008, I sort of thought somebody might ask me something. Because I was glad this had come out since it had happened. But I don't believe anybody ever did.
You mentioned that you thought someone would want to ask you something. Can you elaborate on what that means?
Just because he let me use this airplane.
And to be clear, have you ever provided any information to any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Miss Ghislaine Maxwell?
So you asked this question before, you're just asking him to reiterate the response to the question that he previously asked you, Mr. President.
I don't believe any law enforcement agency has ever asked me. And I didn't know enough to volunteer anything.
Mr. President, are you aware of any efforts by anyone, including an attorney, process server, investigator, or any other person to contact you regarding any civil lawsuit, claim, or litigation involving Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
Not that I recall.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever inform or represent to you that he was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No,
Did Ghislaine Maxwell ever inform or represent to you that she was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
no,
And during your relationship, did you ever suspect Epstein or Maxwell of being affiliated with any intelligence agency?
I did not.
All right. Now, you know that the former president was going to be asked about massages and young girls, right? And also, by the way, he was asked about, we've talked about this before, remember Epstein's 50th birthday compilation book that was put together by Ghislaine Maxwell? There's an entry from Bill Clinton. It reads, "It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends."
Okay, my next question for you is, have you ever had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies?
I believe Shante that's a distinctive name, so I think that was the name of one of his flight attendants.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shante did it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the... Ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
Now, that last question she just asked, have you ever been seen visiting St. Little Island? He said no so quick, and his eyes tuned in right on her. See, that's what I be talking about right there. Because if he can at any time say, I don't remember, I don't recall, might have happened, but it's long ago. I don't recall, I don't remember. No. Yes. Well, you see the pictures, so I don't know if it was her, but I was doing it, yeah. Come on, fam. When you choose to, see, he's in a position to be, see, these people, come on, man, they're 1,000 years old. So they're in a position to be able to act like they knew and didn't know. But it's funny how you recall other things. See, this is how you know he lying. You recall other things that fall in the same category, but you don't recall the main things that we really want to know. You can recall everything around that day, but not the main things that happened in that day. That's how you know that makes no sense. How can you remember where y'all went to get ice cream, where y'all went to eat at, where y'all played golf, but you don't remember nothing else that happened that day? You telling me those are the things you was focused on, or that those are the things that left a imprint in your memory? That's lying right in your face. See, the body language says a lot. Shout out to Sherry Ann speaking about it. But my next movement was us discussing the body language and how we know that he is deceitful, and we know that Bill is lying, allegedly. But the biggest thing, is that you can't recall taking a walk, going to get food, ice cream, but not some of the worst engaging behavior with Epstein. That's not true. And never forget, family, just like Sherry Ann said, that's rehearsed. You're right. See, people in power, just like your lawyer. You go to a situation, your lawyer let you know, hey, listen. This is how lawyers come at you. Listen. Okay, so you got to tell me everything. I need you to tell me everything so I can know what to tell them, or I can figure out a deal for you. Okay? And then the funny part is nobody never tells the lawyer everything for real. You probably tell them some, but you don't tell them everything. Everything? No, not everything. So you'll tell them like 89% of everything. That little other percentage is the part that is on your mind that you know that you will never forget, because that's what happened. That's what you did. Now, this is how I know Bill Clinton playing games with us. He continues to dance and prance around everything, but we know everything that happened on that island and the behavior that Epstein was portraying, and Maxwell. The biggest deal that's funny is that anytime we know we did something and it happened like that, and the way we might dance around it, we still can't tell the lawyer like that's what it was until the lawyer find out that's what it was. But to be real with you, the lawyer has to know so they can give you a deal. The point is with Bill, see, the rehearsal with Bill and them is different, fam. Yeah, because the rehearsal with Bill and them, these people so powerful. And remind you, he's the former president of the United States. So he has the convenience of knowing the lawyer, the judge, the people in the room, the questions that's going to be asked, and everything that falls in line with the deposition. Just like Hillary Clinton, if you was listening to Hillary Clinton's situation, when they started talking about Pizzagate, her lawyer said, Chairman, is this a part of what we discussed or not? She said it 3-4 times. Chairman, is this a part of what we own or not? Is this what we doing or not? Is this what it part? And he's sitting back like he know what they're going to do. The chairman that's holding the whole hearing, he knows that Trump and them was going to invite her in. Brandy in the building. You something to smoke right now. They know they were going to invite her in and make it seem like it was about Epstein, which it is. Try to grab things up out of her about her husband. And in the midst of that, we just going to sit there and really, we're going to discredit you. We're going to continue to make you look bad and make sure we bring up what you did first in Pizzagate. So the chairman knows that they're going to do that, and he's just sitting back letting it happen. Funny part about it is, to me, is if they not finna lock nobody up, who cares? If they not finna hold nobody in contempt, who cares? If nobody's being impeached, if nobody's being condemned, if nobody's being withheld, if nobody's being incarcerated, if ain't nobody being smacked, punched, thrown out the window, shot at, spit on, cussed out, shitted on. I mean, I can keep talking. If ain't none of this happening, fam, who really cares? That's the real thing. Shout out to Brandy, says, I fell asleep on her last night, shaking my head. Let me tell you something. You in the house. We family. Kick your shoes off. You better be comfortable right now, because everybody in here got them something to drink, something to eat, and something to smoke if that's what they doing. Ain't nobody got no shoes on unless they at work. You better hear me. You in the house. I done fell out on, let me tell you something, Brandy. I done fell out on her several times, player. Because we in the house. Yeah. Order. Now, okay, let's get it popping. Now, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. And if you a member, tell fam and them to hit that like button, double tap that screen when they come in here. Now, the distraction and why this is being stalled is because, one, it takes the attention away from Trump. Two, they're finna start deposition everybody. That's what's finna happen. Okay, Brandy comfortable, good job. under the cover, feet twirling, got you something to smoke. We ready. Listen. You gonna be shocked at who they finna question next. You better hear me right now. You about to be shocked on who they finna question next. You better hear me right now. Sherry Ann, what message did you retract? Let me know. You about to be shocked on who they about to deposition next. You understand? Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You finna be so shocked at who they finna deposition next. Cause everybody, to me, whose name is on the Epstein files, need to be getting a deposition or something. Because at some point, at the end of the day, nobody is being questioned, thought of, accused, charged, impeached. I mean, the only people that have been held in contempt is Bill Clinton and them. And they 90 years old. Don't nobody even care. Think about it. They finna lock up Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton right now. Think about it, man. What? Who you think? You think they finna lock these old people up right now? What matters? They done lived their life. They waiting on death to just just knock at the door. They right there. Don't even matter.
We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection, speculation. You can't possibly.
Have you ever met her or any other girls? Ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls.
Did you hear the name? I want to know, did you hear what I heard? It ain't who I'm thinking next, David. I know who next. I'm finna tell you too. But did you hear what I just heard, Chris? Did you hear what I just heard, Sherry Ann? Cat. Where you at, Cat? You all right? Listen to me. Did you hear what I just heard? I need to know you heard what I just... Sherry Ann. You heard what I just heard for real? Did you hear what we heard, Cat? Let me know if you heard what we heard, Cat. Let me know if you heard what we heard, Cat. Cause you listening. Let me know that you heard what we just heard. Huh? What name did you just hear, Sherry Ann? Woo! This is so wild. What name did you just hear, fam? What name did you... Oh, you ain't caught it. Somebody didn't catch it. What name did you hear, fam? Oh, Brandy didn't get it. Here we go. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go right now. Listen closely, listen. This is how you know this is so a script in our lives. And everything that's being played out right in front of our face is all connected. Listen to the name that was just said of the young lady that they alleged said something about Bill Clinton. Virginia in the building. Alamo City. I hope you ain't talking about me. Watch your mouth. Let's go.
Visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Object.
We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection. Speculation. You can't.
Girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made? We have Virginia Guthrie, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Okay, real quick. Somebody go Google Virginia Guthrie. And then put in their connection to Nancy Guthrie. Because why do they got the same damn last name? Boy, they pulling mob. They pulling MOB. They pulling mob. They pulling everything right in front of that face of yours. Is it Guthrie or Guthrie? What is going on here, fam? You better stop lying. You better stop lying. Cause why folk got to come up missing? As if they got something to do with some. Like, why would somebody just take your grandma, bro? I want to hear it again. Let me hear it again. Let me say it again the right way, Sherry Ann. Why would somebody just come in and take your G-mama? It ain't like, oh, they love her, they like her that much? Why would somebody just come in and take your grandma out her house? And then it come up on the news. But not just regular news, local news. Because like if that was my grandma, your grandma, it'd just be local news. It ain't gonna be worldwide news. That's how you knew they told on themselves again. See, that's what we gotta do. Because of they moving creepy and with they signs and stuff, we have to read the signs to find out what's next. But yet we look back and we like, hold on, what? If that was your grandma, my grandma, it wouldn't be on no global news, worldwide for content creators to know. And the fact that this old girl grandma, the actual news porter, the actual news anchor, oh my God, this is diabolical debacle. This is diabolical debacle. You understand me? What? I knew something wasn't right. I ain't lying. If this was some regular degular, it wouldn't even have been regular. Shout out to Chris said nefarious work, fam. You ain't lying, Mr. Nefarious. I mean, I'm just saying, fam, you gotta if it go global, then somebody important. If it's local, then it don't matter. It's just another day in the hood. But this was what? And now we talking about somebody said something about something. And this was the main person that said they said that girl said that out of her mouth. I can't believe this.
Objection, speculation. You can't possibly.
Have you ever met her or any other Epstein associated underage girl?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. In Epstein's 2016 deposition unsealed in the DOJ files, he refused to answer if you were accompanied by 2 young women who were approximately 18 years old on the island. Were any such women potentially underage with you? I know you've stated that you were not there, but did you have any interaction with the said
Objection to the foundation of the question. He's already stated he was not on the island. You're now asking about a claim of the Fifth Amendment by Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 13. And this is Bates marked House Oversight 000126. And while it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
it's his 50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
Questions?
Mr. President, do you recognize this letter? And for the record, does this appear?
Questions?
House Oversight. At this time, I'd like
interaction with the said
Objection to the foundation of the question. He's already stated he was not on the island. You're now asking about a claim of the Fifth Amendment by Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 13. And this is Bates marked House Oversight 000126. And while it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
it's his 50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
Questions?
Mr. President, do you recognize this letter? And for the record, does this appear to be your handwriting and signature?
It is.
And why did you write this letter?
Why did I? Because I was requested to contribute a nice letter for his birthday book.
And who asked you to write the letter?
I don't remember.
Would Miss Maxwell have asked you?
I don't know. I think someone on my staff asked me.
Now,
See, this is how you know that he just fell off the script again, Brandy. The man just asked him, he said, I don't know or I don't remember. They want him to keep saying, I don't remember, so it doesn't make a problem because of his age. Because if he says, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, you're going to sound like the typical person that's denying the claims. When yet we see you in 90% of the pictures doing 90% of the actions. So I just pointed that out because I'm like, this is funny how he is fully aware of what he's doing, but they playing it like he's not because of his age. And in my head, I'm like, what's gonna happen? Because anybody could say, he could just say himself. Whatever he want, but if he don't remember, what, you gonna make him remember?
there's a word that our committee has not been able to identify, and in our defense, the Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it? To have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. Not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't?
No, errors.
Errors. What did I mean? Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving you.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
And then
Had related.
Anybody who's lived this, you couldn't. Yes.
Identify, and in our defense, the Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it? To have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't,
No, errors.
errors. What did I mean? Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving you?
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
And then we get to the hot tub photo.
What we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Ms. Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. He said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
We should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
It'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, so real quick, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Think about this. How did you not know the picture was taken if you posing in the picture? You in the tub with old girl and her face redacted and you over there like, boy, is you dumb. Or you forgot you smiled at the camera while a picture was being taken, and now you gonna say, "No, I didn't know I was getting taken pictures of." And then what's funny is he just lied again. He said there must be a photo of a picture that was a bigger look on this one. He said there's another photo that's a much bigger scene. They just kind of got this. So why you lying on yourself right there? And see, that's what I be talking about, man. You gotta have an ear, fam, and listen. The man talking about he didn't know he was even being photographed. But then he knows when the picture is there, he's like, it's a bigger picture. And they just zoomed in on that part. Right there, I would have told him, hold up, let's take a recess. Because your client is lying. He just said he knew nothing about getting a picture taken, but yet this man is sitting here telling me specifically about the picture, the original picture, and how this picture is just a zoom in angle. Theo in the building, ain't no way. Xavier in the building, you know what it is.
Any of the
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I hadn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area whether other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember, were they under 18? Would you know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
If he don't remember who it is, how you remember how old they were?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night and late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent.
And then you don't understand nothing, but now you understand there was a Secret Service agent there, and everybody was there that was with y'all, but you don't know who this girl is. You don't know nothing about nothing, but you know everything else. You knew who charger was plugged up on this wall. You knew whose shoes that was. You knew who just rolled that blunt and put it on the table. And now you know who coat that is, but you don't know the girl that was in the tub with you, rubbing your back. Is you serious? That boy probably got some fellatio and probably rubbed her cheeks, but you don't know nobody now? At your age, for him to be remembering that, he remember more. He remember what it is. Because what he should have did was just kept talking about he can't recall. He should have kept rolling with I can't recall. I just can't recall what it was. He should have rolled with that. But he want to give you a little something just to make it not look like he just sold nothing. You see what I'm saying? He want to give you a little something so it can seem like he a human being or something, or he was involved with it. But at the end of the day, now we letting you talk. And now because we letting you talk, you're telling on yourself and others. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, let's go.
To the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
How about this one?
Virginia Giuffre is also asked in this document.
The same one you handed us?
Yes, ma'am.
So we should be looking at?
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. JS is speaking. Were sexual orgies a regular occurrence on the island at Jeffrey's house? Yes. My question, Mr. President, were you ever aware or engaged in any of these sexual orgies?
Are these on the island where he's testified that he's
No,
not
ma'am,
been on the
I was
island?
never on the island.
Were you ever on any island in the Virgin Islands?
To travel for a trip with his wife, which is on the public record? I'm
With
sorry,
Jeffrey
what's your
Epstein?
question?
No.
You were never in the Virgin Islands with
Jeffrey Epstein, no.
And I gotta say, the final one I want to talk about right now was very interesting.
He got that black
Did
woman for a
Jeffrey
lawyer.
Epstein
She not
kill
playing.
himself? You know, there's been a lot of speculation about that, even though it was officially determined Epstein hung himself in his jail cell at the MCC in August of 2019 while awaiting federal sex trafficking charges. Though the Epstein files, I will tell you, didn't quiet that conversation. When you look at the materials, I think it just continues the conversation one way or another. There were reports of a decoy body being moved out, or a missing minute of surveillance footage, or this orange blob moving up the stairs to Jeffrey Epstein's cell, to the actual photos of his dead body, to internal reports about Epstein's mental health leading up to his death. Just continued the conversation. Well, one of the theories is that Epstein was murdered, right? That he was killed, so he couldn't share what information he had with respect to other people or on other people. Former president was asked about this.
Mr. President, there's been new information that has come out regarding the autopsy of Mr. Epstein. I would just like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the president thinks of.
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein
Are you
suicidal?
classifying him as a friend who he has testified that he was friendly?
He has called him a friend in a letter.
He said it was friendly,
That's the
but
lawyer
not,
you
you've
need.
asked for his testimony.
Mr. President, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
Do you know?
Was he ever
She's asking the
suicidal?
best of your
I
understanding.
don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe
That's it.
he finally got caught, and I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened,
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
but he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Neither
Mr.
do you.
President.
We don't, none of us know. We weren't there.
Mr. President, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, I think we might do a deeper dive into this testimony, maybe in a future episode, but we wanted to get something out to you as soon as possible. But there you go, some highlights from the videotape depositions of both Bill and Hillary Clinton. And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also up on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.
Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of former President Bill Clinton. Before we get started with this, couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. What we're going to be analyzing today is former President Bill Clinton's deposition to the House Oversight Committee. What we're specifically going to be looking at is Clinton talking about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. We could probably do a follow-up video talking about the Clinton Foundation and other aspects of this, but for today, for the sake of time, we're really just covering him and his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. All right, let's just jump right in.
Conducted by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform under the authority granted to it pursuant to House Rule 10. Accordingly, House Rule...
Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is his posture already. See the chin down, eyes up like this? This is a defensive posture. Our neck is very vulnerable, so when we keep our chin down, that tends to be a defensive posture. So he's starting this out in a defensive position.
Directing the chairman to authorize and issue a subpoena to you for a deposition. On August 5th, 2025, Chairman...
As you can see, his chin continues to go lower and lower. He's in a very defensive position as they discuss the steps they took in order to get this deposition. Now, what we're going to be doing is jumping around because this is 4.5 hours long. I assume you don't want me to analyze all 4.5 hours, so I'm just going to be showing you the highlights. Wow. But now we're going to go ahead and jump to some other sections.
Well, I will try in this testimony, and I will point it out when I'm aware there's a picture or something that predates it. There's a picture that shows him shaking hands in the...
Now, we're already seeing how Bill Clinton can be persuasive. You see how he's got a little bit of a smile as he speaks. He's open as he speaks. He looks calm right now. So you have to look very, very carefully if we're going to see whether or not he's being deceptive. But this type of body language immediately makes people feel warm to him. It makes people want to trust what he's saying. So you really have to look at this with a very close eye to see whether or not there's deception.
White House Historical Association reception. That was in 1993, but I'm not aware of that. I first remember meeting him when I got on his airplane to take the first trip with my foundation in, I think, 2002, whenever it was.
And now this is interesting. As he's speaking, you're seeing a lot of swallows, a lot of hard swallows, which means that he actually is feeling stress. He also started to say more and cut himself off.
And I think 2002, whenever it was.
You heard him say, but, as though he was going to continue speaking, cut himself off right there and stop talking, because there must have been something he didn't want to say.
Right.
Two, whenever it was.
Crazy work.
And you can tell by the way he's looking right now, that's a way of saying, I'm done speaking, it's your turn.
That your first memory of interacting with Mr. Epstein was on your first trip. Which trip specifically?
Now this right here is a look of surprise. For whatever reason, this question surprises him. Now, whether or not that's because his interactions with Epstein predate the first trip. There's something about this that he didn't anticipate, even though this seems like it would have been an obvious question. But this looks like a very genuine reaction of surprise right here.
Which trip specifically?
I'm not sure which one it was. Which one was the first? I took all or parts of 4 or 5 trips to Asia and Africa and one to Northern Europe on Mr. Epstein's airplane.
What you're noticing, now he has his hand on his chin acting like he's thinking. He's not making very good eye contact. Now, eye contact for most people, if I didn't know them well, I would say eye contact is variable. Some people feel very uncomfortable with eye contact. Former President Bill Clinton does not feel uncomfortable at all with eye contact. He's actually got very direct, very clear eye contact. But what you're seeing here is that when he's providing a lot of these responses, he's continuing to look down. Right now, we're seeing him obscure his face a little bit. There's a lot of discomfort here as he's talking about this.
And once when I was in Florida, I was offered a ride back to New York, but I wasn't there it was just coincidental that he was there. And I think that was fairly early in the process, but I don't remember exactly. I just know that I did. I took one flight back from Florida to New York. And
so if you're wondering why he would need to think so hard about this, is that if he was in fact on more flights than he claimed, he's going to have to be very careful and very precise that he responds to which flights he was on. Now, it seems like it'd be obvious. Well, of course he's going to remember which ones he said he was on versus which ones people don't know about, but that can get confusing in a situation like this. So when I see his hesitancy, to me, that says that he's trying to be selective about what he says.
All are part of several other, I think 4 or 5 trips.
So you may also be noticing that right now he's speaking with one hand. Now, typically he's someone who's emphatic, who uses both hands, who's very open. So he's someone that's going to want you to listen to what he's saying. You're not seeing so much of that right now. One arm, one hand tends to be less committed than both, particularly for somebody who typically speaks with both hands.
Africa, Asia, and one to Northern Europe.
Testimony today that you have no independent recollection whatsoever of the circumstances.
Now, you may be noticing the shaking. He's been doing this throughout. I do think this is more age-related. I don't think that it's because he's so nervous right now that he can't not shake.
Briefly describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Mr. Epstein.
Well, sometime after I left the White House, either in late 2001 or early-ish in 2002.
He looks so much more uncomfortable than I've ever actually seen him look. He's someone that seems almost impervious to stress when he's out in public, when he's giving speeches, when he speaks in front of Congress, or used to. So to see him like this, it's very interesting. He very much appears more defensive than I've ever seen him look before.
Hold up, Dirty. Hold up. Dunk now, fam. Who are you? Shout out to 3JS4L. Hope you had a greater day, brother. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's get right quick. Dunk now, fam. Chris, who is Dunk now, fam? Theo, who is Dunk now, fam? Sherry Ann, who is Dunk now, fam? Brandy, who is this? Cat, who is Dunk now, fam? Dave, what? Now read what whoever this duck said. The best thing for this goose is to read the headlines and then we read in between the lines. You must don't know that's what's going on here, fam. What are you doing? The only interaction that's being interacted is after the action's being taken. Don't do that. Don't tell me what to do. Don't do that. If you feel an urge to tell me what to do, the door is right there, or right there. Whatever angle that your phone is in. But please don't come in here telling me what to do. Because all my fam know what's going on in my house. Yeah, don't do that. Pause the video and interact with your. Pause the video and what this? Can you pause and interact with your viewers? See, that's how I know you ain't who you is, because you just called my fam my viewers. The disrespect. The nerve. You know who you in here with, boy? Or a human? All right, we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Because the way you just came in here was a little different, fam. Telling me what to do. Vladimir in the building. Yeah, but you know, when you come in the house, they got to know what it is, Vladimir. It's all good. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Now listen. Understand, fam, don't do that. Because the big thing is right here, we here to inform, understand, and be aware. We bring a light to darkness. We read the headline, and then we read in between the line. That if it walk like a, talk like a, we know what it is. Understand what's going on, fam. Shout out to Ohio in the building. Yeah. Now, best thing for you to do is hit that like button, double tap that screen, become a member today, because we're here to save your life. But you never want to tell me to pause nothing for my view. There are no viewers in here. Everybody in here in my house are family right now. Let's learn something today. There are no viewers in here. And if you are a viewer, I urge you to be a family member. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and share this with the world. My viewers. I almost felt offended. You call my loved ones viewers. All right, Duck Now is not from America, and the humbleness that you have shown has allowed me to open my door to you, for you to meet my fam. Family, introducing Dunk Now Fam. This is Dunk Now Fam, Duck Now Fam, introducing my fam. No filters. Now y'all can say what's up to homie, because homie found some type of humbleness and let us know that he or she ain't from America, and they trying to figure it out. We appreciate your respect, your humility, and everything that go on in the midst of that. That's a big difference. We appreciate Duck Down, all right? Duck Now fam. Everybody say what's up to Duck Now. They allowing this. Now the love is here. That's how we coming. So that's real. Hit that like button, double tap that screen so you can learn something. Become a member today, fam. We're here to teach you something. Become a member today. We're here to save your life. There are things you might know, things you might not, but in the midst, you need to learn today, because you got family, and if you got kids, they need to know what's going on. Hard dog in the building, want to ask a question, go ahead. But again, now you have been formally introduced and formally welcomed. Shout out to 3JS4L family. I appreciate you about the shirt. You already know. You see the super chat. You see the cash app. You see the stickers. Don't forget, bang! You probably can't even see him because the chair in the way, but I'm gonna move it out the way so you can see it. But don't forget, fam, you get your No Filters t-shirt. One woman, one man gonna win a No Filters t-shirt. Classic No Filters. One woman, one man. All you got to do is join the raffle. Get your $2 in there. Get your $5 in there for the hoodie. One woman, one man, a win. each any color of your liking. Signed by your boy Diller T. You understand? Sponsored by Nene Love Savvy TV in the building. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You see it, any color of your liking. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. It's really real. You get you a No Filters classic, one woman, one man, gonna win. Shout out to Lori and Demi Hill. They receiving hers on the way. The raffle is March. And we ready to call your name out for it. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, Brandy, be ready. Become a member today, Brandy. What you doing? Become a member today. Become a member today. Become a member today. Because what's going to come down to it, we got at the end of this month, I think the last Friday, I believe we have the raffle for the names that's getting pulled out for the first person that's going live with me. First person going live with me, that's a member already going live with me. 9 p.m. Be ready. 9 p.m. Going live with your boy Diller T. You understand? Be ready, go live. Be ready the way we're doing it in the manner that we're doing it in. You understand? That's the way we're doing it and the way it's got to be done. Just make sure we hit that like button, double tap that screen.
Two, I received a call from Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury, and was then president of Harvard. And
all right, immediately after talking about Larry Summers, you're seeing him close up. Now, when people are standing and they have this position, sometimes it's for comfort. They've been standing for a while. It's a more comfortable way to stand.
In the building.
Right now, this is clearly closing up. This is an actual defensive posture.
Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury, and was then president of Harvard. And he said that
as AI becomes more and more a part of our daily lives, privacy is going to become more and more of an issue. That's why today's video is sponsored by
Sherry
AI.
Ann, that's how we come, and I'm looking forward
OpenAI,
to
Sam
it.
Altman, has said that
That lifetime
ChatGPT will
get
get
you
to know
some-
you over the course of your
some
life. When you
perks.
consider that ChatGPT also has a former director of
Sherry
the
Ann.
NSA on their board, it all starts to get a little bit more concerning. Fortunately, there's a
That
solution.
lifetime
It's
get
called
you some
Venice
perks,
AI.
man.
Venice AI
Pretty
lets
things
you
in the
use
building.
AI without
Hit that
handing
like
over
button,
your
double tap that
sensitive
screen.
information. Their founder, Eric Voorhees, is a leading crypto entrepreneur known for advocating for individual financial control and user privacy. Venice utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation right to your web browser or via their app. And the best part, they don't spy on you or censor the AI. The conversation history is stored only on your device or browser. With Venice Pro, you unlock the full platform, including PDF uploads, unhindered image generation, and the ability to customize how Venice interacts with you. I've been using Venice AI and it's a game changer. I can switch between different models, generate images that other platforms wouldn't, and even create custom AI characters to chat with. If you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or the government, you can get 20% off of a pro plan using my link, venice.ai/Dr. G. Visit Venice.ai today and start your journey with the future of AI. Remember, your data, your rules.
Mr. President, when did...
Now, let's get right. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's retract, let's retrace, let's understand. Tomorrow, we supposed to be going on a Zoom call. My members. Tomorrow we supposed to be doing Zoom call, members. And the way it's gonna have to happen is it's gonna be different because the link to the Zoom is gonna be found. I'm gonna have the link pulled up for fam, so y'all will know where to hit it at. So the difference is that we're gonna do Zoom and we're gonna do the live. And I'm gonna have something set up to where we're still gonna see the topic. We're still gonna, same situation. The only difference is that the Zoom should be here. The house is gonna be here, and the TV is gonna be back there to see what we're discussing. So that's how we coming, because what's gonna happen is the link will be sent to matter of fact, what's gonna happen is this is what needs to happen. All my members have to send me their email address right now, because you need to see the link. The link has to be sent to you in your email address. You understand? And I appreciate you, Sherry Ann. You know it's much love. I really appreciate you, mommy. But if you want to be involved with the Zoom, you got to email me your Zoom. You got to email me your email address so we could add the link, the Zoom link to you. Of course, it should be maybe 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to probably be a 34 or 5-minute Zoom. But the point is that all of my family members, all my members, definitely send me your email address or email me at nofilters314@gmail.com. And that's for all of my family members in here, Sherry Ann as well. The email address for No Filters is nofilters314@gmail.com. Right, so that's why I said definitely email me so we can tap in and be locked in forever, as well as understanding that with that, that should possibly put everybody in a good position. Now, it's a debatable, because the Zoom and the meeting, see, the membership was a meet and greet. That's exactly what the Zoom was. It's a meet and greet for the members of what we was doing. So this is what comes with membership. The members only videos are about to be uploaded as well, because there's some different type of videos only under members. You understand? Only where members can actually comment on it, only where members can only deal with it because it's that explicit or it's that real. You understand? So again, become a member, like, subscribe, hit that like, subscribe button right now. Become a member today. We're here to save your life. And the biggest thing is that David Scott said smoke 1,000 blunts. That's crazy. But, so yeah, that's what we're doing. So like I said, if you want to be a part of the Zoom, email me nofilters314@gmail.com. If you're a family member and you just know that you need to email, you contacted Diller T and what we're doing here at No Filters, and you're a part of this family, nofilters314@gmail.com. Looking forward to it, looking extra at it, trying to know what the level is and what it ain't. We want to make sure that we do that so we don't forget what's going on. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Never forget the raffle. One man, one woman will win. Classic No Filters t-shirt, classic No Filters hoodie. All you got to do is send in your money, $2 or your $5. How much ever it is, it goes towards your raffle. So you can be that next man or woman to win a No Filters hoodie. Signed by your boy Diller T, sponsored by Nene Love Savvy TV. You understand what I'm saying? That's the only way we're here to do it, the only way we're going to do it right there. That's it. But as always, fam, you know the deal and what the level is. You know how we coming, how we going, and how we chilling. As always, family, I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in tonight. I truly appreciate you taking time out to pull up on your boy Diller T right here in the house with me, family. I truly appreciate you taking your time to make sure that you understand that we read the headlines and read in between the lines. Here to inform, understand, and be aware that if it walk like a, talk like a, we know what it is, and it's duck hunting season, and we definitely here to get these ducks out the way. As always, family, I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all all support. Shout out to Theo in the building with the $4.99 donation. Understanding that address for that No Filters hoodie and shirt. As always, fam, truly appreciate each and every one of y'all coming in to understand that you need you to double tap that button, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and share this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you know the title, fam. You in here with your boy Diller T, my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Don't forget, nofilters314@gmail.com. Email me. You want to reach out, conversate, connect, love, respect. Never forget. Good night, family. Good night, beautiful people. Y'all be safe. Have a good evening. It's love.